This is the first of the final games in the random New Year's Flash tournament. It's between V.O.D, Scalp Hunter and Aggony1Pain1Achilles. The factions are chosen at random. So V.O.D, Scalp Hunter got the Seleucids and Aggony1Pain1Achilles got Ardiaei. And he has 2 Tarentines, 6 Illyrian Noble Hoplites, 6 Illyrian Marines, 2 Illyrian Cavalry. For Scalp Hunter, we have a front line consisting of 6 Thorax Swords. Then he has a bunch of archers, Persian Light Archers, 4 in total. He has 2 Thureos, or 2 Levy Pikes in the center, Royal Peltast, and 1 Tarentine, 1 Median, and that's it. So in a matchup like this, it kind of shows how difficult it is for the Ardiaei to prepare for a multi-dimensional faction, because the Seleucids, they can bring elephants, they can bring chariots, they can bring infantry, they can bring good skirmishers, while you know that the Ardiaei is going to only bring terrible cavalry, no elite skirmishers, and most likely hoplites. That's basically it. So while the Ardiaei has to sort of foolproof itself against elephants and chariots, then the Seleucids can just surprise the hell out of the Ardiaei by doing what Scalp Hunter has done here. And this is a sort of a smart build to bring against the Ardiaei, because he'll be able to stop the frontal charge with his Levy Pikemen. His Thorax Swords are going to do well against the Thureos of the enemy and the Illyrian Noble Hoplites, but if the Illyrian Noble Hoplites get a good charge against Thorax Swords, they're going to absolutely wreck the Thorax Swords. So I guess that's what the pikes are there for, to prevent that from happening. Now, Ardiaei has to be super economic with its cavalry. Like, this cavalry cannot stand up to anything in prolonged melee. It's not there for frontally charging infantry. It's mainly for mopping up enemy skirmishers and such. So here the skirmishing starts. The Persian Light Archers firing into the front of Illyrian Noble Hoplites. Not really going to damage the Illyrian Noble Hoplites a lot. They have 115 armor from the front. They have a 50% chance to block incoming enemy missiles, so these Persian Light Archers can fire all day at the Illyrian Noble Hoplites. They're not going to be able to cause many casualties frontally. Scalp Hunter is pushing them far up, so this could allow Achilles to throw javelins with his Illyrian Marines. The archers are firing at the Illyrian Marines, and now the Illyrian Marines could potentially move up, but it looks like Achilles is going to move up his cavalry instead, and I don't like this. This is going to put his Illyrian cavalry at a huge risk. He could get countercharged by Median cavalry, he could eat some javelins from the Thureos, he could be fired upon by enemy missiles like here. Pushing back the Persian Light Archers. Now he's going to chase after the Median cavalry, but he's actually doing friendly fire to himself here with his own javelins. And the Illyrian cavalry is going to get wrecked now. They don't have the armor to sustain these types of missile volleys. And the Royal Peltast joining in on the fun and just destroying the Illyrian cavalry. So one very important cavalry unit off the field for Ardiaei already, and it wasn't really able to do much. Now here we have the archers doing basically nothing to the Illyrian Noble Hoplites frontally, and to be honest, I think it might have been a good strategy in this case to allow the archers to fire frontally as much as possible against the Illyrian Noble Hoplites, to eat the... I've done this myself as Sparta sometimes. Just let Syrian archers fire all day into the front of the Royal Spartans. They're going to take some damage, but very little, and more importantly, it's going to allow you to avoid getting shot in the flanks and in the rear in the late game when you're already engaged, so that can be useful. Managed to take out a lot of Tarentine cavalry though, did Achilles, so that's good. These Illyrian Marines haven't really done much yet. taking some fire on his Tarentines, but they can take a bit of missile fire due to them having nice armor. And here we can see the Illyrian Noble Hoplites spread very thin, nicely done by Achilles. And there's still just one Illyrian Noble Hoplite lost. And I would like to know how much ammunition there's left on the Persian Light Archers now, because it looks like they've been firing for a significant amount of time. They do get nice kills on the Illyrian Cavalry, but I wonder how many kills they have inflicted, or how much ammunition they have spent in order to inflict one casualty on the Illyrian Noble Hoplites. So I think that would be something to test, actually, how much damage they do. Because a unit of dirt cheap archers is going to cause a significant amount of casualties against a unit like Principe frontally, and they have their shields are as good as the shields of the Illyrian Noble Hoplites, but of course they have less armor, so that definitely will come into play. Now Scalp Hunter is doing sort of a slow surround of Achilles, pulling back in the center, which is going to allow him to continue the surround, taking so much damage on his Illyrian cavalry here. I think in order for this build to work, I think Achilles would have needed to just push hard in the center and then use his Thoreos to scare away any enemy cavalry, because it looks like he's going to try to do something like that now, at least push hard in the center. And you can see Scalp Hunter probably has all of his units selected at once now, and he's just pulling back with his infantry. He doesn't want to engage the Illyrian Noble Hoplites. He wants to skirmish, do damage at range, which I don't blame him for. Tarentines pushing up on the flanks, being annoying in general. Here we have the Levy Pikes pushing up, and now Achilles is going to turn his back. I think this is a massive mistake, because look at the damage he takes while he turns his back here. Doing a lot of damage. Managed to get his Illyrian cavalry into the archers. Very nicely done by Achilles in finding the gap and exploiting it. So these Persian light archers are probably also going to get scared off the field. But the cavalry unit unfortunately sort of stopped on the thorax swords there. Taking a lot of damage on the Illyrian Noble Hoplites now. If these Illyrian Marines get charged by the thorax swords, it's going to be bad, but Achilles isn't going to allow that to happen. He's going to pull back, not getting a charge with the Illyrian Noble Hoplites. That's bad for the Illyrian Noble Hoplites. Getting charged in the center in phalanx, not a good time for the Illyrian Noble Hoplites. And you can see that Scalp Hunter's Levy Pike center here is going to work in stopping the Hoplites, but the Pike center is taking a lot of damage from these Illyrian Marines. They might just be able to take down the Levy Pikemen. But the way these engagements went, I don't think that Achilles has a chance to match Scalp Hunter here, because he's taken quite a lot of skirmish damage. He's not getting his charges, and as the Ardiaei, you live and die by your charges. So yes, they do have expert charge defense, but against units with such a low charge bonus, it isn't really going to matter much. You need to get your 30 charge bonus in. You need to get good engagements, and in this battle, Scalp Hunter was able to dictate the pace by having the skirmishers. And I think maybe if Achilles would have spread out a bit, just kept 2 lines of infantry and kept pushing Scalp Hunter back, it could have been easier for him to get the engagements that he needed, because now he was Scalp Hunter was able to kite back and then engage the Illyrians piecemeal by having more units. And here you can see a phalanx being turned around and just taking so much damage on these Illyrian Noble Hoplites. So the Ardiaei can be a difficult faction to use. There are several builds that can work, but the thing is that one of the if you choose one of the more rushy types of Celtic warrior, axe warrior types of builds, and you don't bring a lot of Illyrian Marines, then you can run into huge problems against the elephants and chariots. Then again, if you just come up against infantry spam, then it might be difficult to make it work with only Illyrian Noble Hoplites and Illyrian Marines. So that's one of the problems with playing as a one-dimensional faction against a multi-dimensional faction like the Seleucids. The Ardiaei has to prepare for multiple scenarios, while the Seleucids basically only has to prepare for infantry. There is no way that Illyrian cavalry and slave slingers are going to ruin your day. It just won't happen. So when you're up against the Ardiaei, you just have to come prepared to kill a lot of infantry. And you can do that with elite swords, you can do that with skirmishers, you can block the center with pikes, you have a lot of options. But as the Ardiaei, you really don't have the options. So one of the reasons that the Ardiaei don't get a lot of tournament play, they are super one-dimensional and easy to counter. Can work, absolutely, and I think it would have been to Achilles' benefit if Scalp Hunter had brought an elephant or chariot, but I think that Scalp Hunter realized that that would be a liability, and that Achilles would probably prepare for an elephant chariot. So going for skirmishers and infantry, probably the safer choice against the Ardiaei, since the Ardiaei skirmishers and cavalry are absolutely horrible. So close victory there for Scalp Hunter. This is a best of 3, so that means that we could potentially see 1 more game, or we could potentially see 2 more games. Thorax swords. Some of the thorax swords did an amazing job. I suspect those were the thorax swords that charged the Illyrian noble hoplites that had their backs turned. Some of the Illyrian marines do reasonably well. The cavalry just fails hard. And I think the kills that we see here on the Illyrian noble hoplites, usually they are a lot higher, and I think that has to do with not getting the charges in and getting charged in the rear and such a lot. Nice kills on the Persian light archers, very nice kills on the royal peltasts, and bad luck for Achilles for getting the Ardiaei in the finals, but that's how the random faction stuff works. Strength and honor.